It's Christmas Eve, 1944. You haven't eaten in 4 days. Your boots are frozen to your feet. 200,000 German soldiers are surrounding you from every direction. And the only word America sent back was, nuts. December 16th, 1944. Hitler has a plan. And if it works, America loses the entire war in a single week. Nobody sees it coming. Not the generals in their warm headquarters. Not the intelligence officers studying their maps. Not the 83,000 American soldiers spread thin across 80 miles of frozen Belgian forest. And definitely not you. You are 20 years old. You are from a small town in Pennsylvania called Harrisburg. You grew up eating your mom's pot roast on Sundays. You played baseball in the summers. You went to church every Christmas Eve without fail. This Christmas Eve is going to be different. This Christmas Eve, you are going to learn something about yourself that you never wanted to know. You've been in Europe for 4 months. 4 months of cold and mud and fear and waiting. 4 months of telling yourself the war is almost over. 4 months of believing the officers when they said Germany is finished. Hitler is desperate. The boys will be home by Christmas. Everybody said that. Everybody believed it. It is December 16th, and the boys are not going home. Not even close. The attack begins at 5:30 in the morning. You are asleep. Everyone is asleep. Because nobody expected this, the Ardennes forest was supposed to be the quiet sector. The rest sector, the place they sent tired divisions to recover. 80 miles of dense frozen forest that military analysts said was impossible to attack through. They were wrong. At 5:30 a.m., 1,900 German artillery pieces opened fire simultaneously across the entire 80-mile front. The sound is something that no human being was built to process. It doesn't sound like individual explosions. It sounds like the sky itself is being torn in half. You are out of your foxhole before you are fully awake. Your body moves before your brain does. Snow everywhere, deep snow. The kind of cold that isn't just temperature, it's a physical presence that pushes against you from every direction. Your breath comes out in thick clouds. Your fingers are already losing feeling inside your gloves. Around you, men are running. Some toward their positions, some away from the explosions. Some just running because standing still feels like dying. The forest that was silent and cold and almost peaceful last night is now lit up from the artillery like the world's worst sunrise. Trees are exploding, not burning. The German artillery is so accurate and so dense that direct hits on the tree trunks send splinters of wood flying in every direction like wooden shrapnel. Men are being hit by trees. Your sergeant finds you in the chaos. He's from Chicago. He has a wife named Betty and a daughter named Grace who just turned 2. He carries their photograph in his breast pocket over his heart. He grabs your arm. "Fall back to the tree line," he shouts. You can barely hear him over the artillery. "Where are the Germans?" you shout back. He looks at you, and in that look is everything you need to know. They are everywhere. The Battle of the Bulge has officially begun, and what is happening right now in this frozen Belgian forest is the largest German military offensive since the beginning of the war. Hitler has secretly assembled 200,000 soldiers. 200,000. He has 600 tanks. He has pulled men from every front, stripped reserves from everywhere, gambling everything on one final massive assault designed to split the Allied forces in half. Capture the critical port of Antwerp and force America and Britain to negotiate a separate peace. If it works, Russia fights alone. If it works, Hitler survives. If it works, everything changes. And right now, on December 16th, 1944, at 5:30 in the morning, it is working. The next 3 days are something you cannot explain to anyone who wasn't there. The Germans advance faster than anything the Allies have seen since 1940. They punch through the American lines at multiple points simultaneously. Communications collapse. Units get cut off. Officers lose contact with their men. Men lose contact with their units. The weather is so bad that Allied air power is grounded. No planes. No close air support. No resupply from the air. Just 83,000 American soldiers spread across 80 miles of frozen forest against 200,000 Germans with 600 tanks. And in the center of it all is a small Belgian town called Bastogne. Bastogne matters because of roads. 7 major roads converge at Bastogne. Whoever controls Bastogne controls movement through the entire region. The Germans need it. The Americans cannot give it up, which is why on December 19th, the 101st Airborne Division is ordered to hold Bastogne. Against everything, no matter what comes. Hold. You are with the 101st now. You weren't originally, but your unit got cut off, got separated, got absorbed into the defense of Bastogne in the chaos of the German advance. You don't fully understand what you've been assigned to defend. You just know that the order is hold, and that the Germans are coming from every direction, and that there are a lot more of them than there are of you. Bastogne in December 1944 is a town under siege. The Germans surround it completely by December 21st. No supply lines in. No evacuation routes out. No reinforcements coming, artillery hitting the town every few hours. Temperature dropping to 14 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. And 18,000 American soldiers inside the perimeter, with ammunition running low, food almost gone, medical supplies nearly exhausted, and frostbite taking men out of the fight without a single German bullet being fired. The cold alone is killing you. Your feet are the worst. You haven't had dry socks in 6 days. Your boots are frozen, not cold. Frozen. There is a difference, and you understand it now in a way you never wanted to. Your toes have stopped hurting. That would almost be a relief, except that you know what it means when they stop hurting. It means the feeling is gone. It means frostbite has arrived. It means you might keep your toes, or you might not. You don't think about it directly. You can't afford to think about it directly. You just keep moving, because moving is the only thing that keeps the cold from winning completely. Christmas Eve arrives. December 24th, 1944. You are in a foxhole at the perimeter of Bastogne. It is the middle of the night. The temperature is 14 below zero. You haven't eaten a real meal in 4 days. Your ammunition is down to 11 rounds. 11 rounds. You count them again. Still 11. Across the frozen field ahead of you, in the darkness of the Belgian forest, you can hear German soldiers. Not attacking yet, just there, waiting. You can sometimes hear them talking to each other in low voices. Occasionally you hear one of them laugh. Sergeant Kowalski drops into the foxhole beside you. He doesn't say anything for a moment. You don't either. 2 men in a frozen hole in Belgium on Christmas Eve. My daughter's 2, he says finally. You nod. She won't remember this Christmas, he says. She won't remember I wasn't there. You don't say anything because there is nothing to say. Next year, he says. Just that, next year. You think about Harrisburg. You think about your mom's kitchen on Christmas morning. The smell of coffee and something in the oven. Your dad reading the paper at the kitchen table. Your sister complaining about something. The ordinary machinery of a family Christmas morning that you have never once in your life properly appreciated. You would give anything for ordinary right now. Absolutely anything. 3 days earlier, something happened that you only heard about secondhand. On December 22nd, 4 German officers approached the American perimeter under a flag of truce. They carried a written message. The message was addressed to the American commander at Bastogne, Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe. The message said this: "The fortune of war is changing. The forces of the United States are encircled. There is only one possibility to save the encircled USA troops from total annihilation. Honorable surrender is your only option. If these proposals should be rejected, 1 German artillery corps and 6 heavy anti-aircraft battalions are ready to annihilate the USA troops. Surrender? That was the message. Surrender or be destroyed." McAuliffe read it. He laughed. Actually laughed. Then he wrote his reply. 1 word: nuts. The German officers who received the reply didn't understand it at first. An American officer had to explain it to them. It means the same as go to hell. The German officers nodded, walked back to their lines, and the artillery started again. Back in your foxhole on Christmas Eve, you don't feel like nuts. You feel cold and hungry and scared and very far from Pennsylvania. But something about that story, the way it spread through every foxhole and position in Bastogne, did something to the men. 1 word, and McAuliffe laughed. If the general can laugh, maybe you can hold on 1 more night. Maybe 1 more night is enough. The Germans attack on Christmas Eve. They throw everything at the Bastogne perimeter. Tanks, infantry, artillery, the largest assault yet. They hit the northwest corner of the perimeter with 18 tanks and 2 full regiments of infantry. For 3 hours, it is the closest thing to being overrun that Bastogne has experienced. Men fighting in the dark, in the snow, in minus 14 degrees, with almost no ammunition, against tanks. You fire your 11 rounds. You count every single one. 11, 10, 9. When you get to 1, you hold it. You hold that last round for a long time, and then you use it. And then you have nothing left but the cold and your hands in the frozen ground, and the darkness. The Germans are still coming. And then, Christmas morning, December 25th, 1944, the clouds break. For the first time in a week, the sky over the Ardennes clears, and the sound that follows is the most beautiful sound you have ever heard in your entire life. Aircraft engines, American aircraft engines. C-47 transport planes drop supplies into Bastogne. Ammunition, food, medical supplies, gasoline. Crucially, desperately, unbelievably, dry socks. Dry socks. You have not had dry socks in 8 days. You hold the dry socks in your hands for a moment before putting them on. Just hold them. And something happens to your face that surprises you. You are not a man who cries. You were not raised to cry. But something about dry socks on Christmas morning after 8 days in frozen Belgium does something to you that German artillery and German tanks in minus 14 degrees could not do. The same day, General Patton's Third Army breaks through the German lines from the south. Patton had turned an entire army, 250,000 men, 90 degrees in the middle of winter, in the middle of a battle. Military historians still call it the most impressive logistical achievement in American military history. On December 26th, the first Sherman tank from Patton's relief column rolls into Bastogne. The siege is broken. But the battle isn't over. The Battle of the Bulge continues until January 25, 1945. 6 more weeks of brutal winter fighting across the frozen Ardennes. By the end, the numbers are staggering. 75,000 American casualties, killed, wounded, captured, missing. 75,000 Americans. In one battle, in one winter, in one forest in Belgium. It was the bloodiest single battle in American military history. Germany loses more than it can afford. 100,000 German soldiers killed or wounded. 700 tanks destroyed. 1,600 aircraft lost. These are resources Germany cannot replace. The Battle of the Bulge was Hitler's last gamble, and he lost it in a frozen Belgian forest. Against men who had 11 rounds of ammunition and one word for surrender. Nuts. You make it out. Sergeant Kowalski makes it out. He goes home to Betty and Grace in Chicago. Grace is 3 years old by the time he gets there. She doesn't remember the Christmas he wasn't there, just like he said. You go home to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. You sit at the kitchen table on a Sunday morning. Your mom makes pot roast. Your dad reads the paper. Your sister complains about something. The ordinary machinery of your family turning over exactly as it always did. And you sit in the middle of it, and you drink your coffee and you feel your toes. All 10 of them. Still there, and you think about a foxhole in Belgium on Christmas Eve with 11 rounds of ammunition. And you never once complain about the cold again. Not for the rest of your life. The Battle of the Bulge ended on January 25, 1945. Germany surrendered 4 months later. The war in Europe was over. But here's what stayed with you. Not the artillery, not the cold, not the 11 rounds. What stayed with you was one word, written by one general. To 200,000 German soldiers surrounding 18,000 Americans with no food, no ammunition, no air support, and no way out. One word that somehow, impossibly, was enough. Nuts. Merry Christmas, Eddie.